Hi everyone. um, I'm in Croatia now, just a little bit off from Zagreb, and I arrived yesterday. I just want to talk about yesterday. So I just finished having my breakfast. I had kiwis and nuts. Yeah, but yesterday was quite uneventful actually, so it's not going to take that long. But I did yesterday was a road heavy day, and so I did 120 odd kilometers in one day, which is the most I've done in one day. The kind of funny thing was that compared to the other time, like to my second longest, which was the first day, after the first day, well, if you can see on the video, like I was done. Like my legs were trembling, my muscles were hurting, like my back was hurting. Whereas yesterday, like now I'm fine. Like, yeah, I was tired, like I wanted to sleep, but that's about it. Like my muscles were fine. I could still, like, yeah, I had to ride to a restaurant, and I was like, okay, let's get on a bike and ride. Like, it was not as bad, so it's just weird how your body gets used to it. So just, yeah, a couple of stories about yesterday. The first is, so I left Ljubljana around 8:30, and then I got to a bakery because I wanted breakfast. I hadn't had breakfast, so I got to a bakery, and I tried to see if she spoke English, and she said no. And so then I was like, okay, is there something special here? Like, is there traditional? And she's like, oh, okay. And she shows me like this big quiche looking thing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll have a piece of that. And I was like, not the whole thing, like a piece. And she's like, okay. And then she wraps it up for me and everything. I pay €1.80. And then I see the piece, it's a quarter of it. And so, yeah, and then I keep on writing, and I'm like, okay, I need to find a nice place to eat this. At least like not by the road, not like right now. Oh, I didn't show you right now. So I only have an hour and a half to do today. And so I just try to find something sort of quiet for breakfast. And, well, there are benches, so that's good. And it's right by, yeah, this, I don't know how you call it, but there's a lot of them around. So I decided I could stay just for a little bit, and then if anybody comes here to do something personal, I'll leave. But yeah, today's not a very quiet day for breakfast. So yeah, so I was looking for a place to eat my breakfast, and then there was like this really big hill, like steep hill. Didn't put my foot down, so I was really happy about that. But by the end of it, I still had I was just done, and I wanted to rest. So I sat down by the side of the road and just rested. And had this thing, and had like, yeah, so it was a sort of quiche with cheese. I'm not sure, there's a video about it, you can check. And then this car just stops right next to me, lowers his window, and then starts talking to me, and like, so I'm like, oh, maybe he wants directions or something, which I can't help, obviously. But I go to him, and then I see he has a lollipop in his hand, and he's like, like speaking in Slovenian, no idea. And so I was like, English? And he's like, yes, you. And then it's because, and then he like makes signs of like the slope. He's like, oh yeah. So I think he gave me a lollipop for doing the slope. Or at least that's what I like to think. So I was like, okay, thank you. And it was just very, very odd. And yeah, and then I kept on going. It was a lot of up and down, and nothing really steep. Like nothing that like by the end of it, I was done. But yeah, a lot of up and down. So it's not, it got quite tiring after a while. Then I had lunch at a bakery again, and just sat, yeah, for an hour. And I couldn't find anything. That's like no supermarket, no nothing. So that's why a bakery. And the other funny story is, so I was in the middle of the woods, and I had not seen a person for a long time, and then there was like this really nice path, so I was like, oh, I'll make a video about it. So I take my phone out to make a video, and as soon as I do that, there's a car that comes by, and there are hikers going by, so I was like, oh, okay. So I don't take the video, And I keep on going for a little bit, and then the hikers stop me. So I'm like, oh, maybe they want directions, or I don't know what they would like. So I stop, I take out my headphones, start speaking in Slovenian. I'm like, English? And then they're like, oh, okay. And then they switch to English, and they just want to know about me. Like, they just want to know like what I'm doing and where I'm from and where I'm going. And so we start talking, and so I asked them back. I'm like, oh, so where are you from? Like, not where are you from? But like, oh, where are you, like, what are you doing here, and what's your trail, and yeah, it turns out they have a cabin in the woods, and they went there for the week, and so they're just doing hiking around, which is a great idea, especially in fall. And yeah, and then in the afternoon it was just getting it done, just going back and like, as I found an area. So I had about 60 kilometers left, so 3 hours left to do before Zagreb. And I was like, okay, well, this is a good place to stop. But I looked on, I wanted to say somewhere because I was already quite tired. So I was like, I'll look for an Airbnb. And the closest one was, well, where I stayed last night. So I was like, okay, well, it's an hour and a half. I'll probably get there when it's dark, but yeah, let's go for it. I'm not that tired. And that's what I ended up doing. But once I got there, I realized I didn't really have food. And so I asked the guy, I was like, oh, is there anywhere to get food? He's like, yeah, but it's like 2 kilometers away. So I was like, okay, so I got on my bike, but without any of the luggage. Got on the bike and yeah, biked over. And my first choice was closed for a special event. Well, it wasn't closed. Like, I went there, and then this waiter was like, "Oh, I'll check with my boss." And the boss was like, "No, we have a special event. We can't do that." So, okay, fine. The second place was just closed, and so I ended up going to a kebab shop called Peter Pan, and I just had a cheeseburger. That's the only thing I understood was cheeseburger. So I just went for it. I was like, "Yes, cheeseburger, good." So I had my cheeseburger and fries, and it was actually not bad. Like, I think I was more hungry than picky. So I just ate whatever was, and it tasted delicious, but who knows if it was. And yeah, my problem was that I forgot that currency changed. I'm so used to the euro. Of like, you go to Italy, you use the euro. You go to Germany, you use the euro. And so yeah, so when I had to pay, it was in crowns, and I was like, oh, I don't have any crowns. Can I pay by card? And they're like, no card. It's like, can I pay in euro? And so they're like, yeah, just pay in euro. So I ended up, I gave a nice tip just because they allowed me to pay in euro. But yeah, after that I just went back and went to bed. Really, no problem sleeping. That's what's good about biking. Absolutely none. I read a little bit of a book, but I think I read like 2 pages and then just down. But that was my day yesterday. And yeah, so today's really short, but I need to do laundry really bad. My only problem is I don't know what to wear when I'm gonna do laundry. I think I'm gonna wear my pajamas as I do my laundry, just because they're the cleanest thing I have that don't need to be washed that badly. But I'll see. Anyways, bye.